Good evening. Talking about Mars from the Astrological Dictionary, live. Mars, Aries, Scorpio. And some of the keywords here, he has the Warlord. And there's actually a book called The Warlord by Alan Leo that I have. Interesting little book. Male, fiery, muscular, barren, I act, positive, dynamic. Abrasion. So I'm just going to go through some of these words, see what comes up, see if anybody joins us here. Abrasion. Accident. Achieve. Accident. Mars is associated with accidents. And I said before, he lists like other planets in parentheses that would go with that word. Like he doesn't have Uranus there, but you could say he has action, and then he has Uranus. So action with Uranus, Mars and Uranus is action. But accident, why is Mars associated with accidents? Because accidents are they cause pain. They break they're breakages in a sense. Acrimony, achieve, action. So achieve. We see Mars is exalted in Capricorn to achieve. Actor with Neptune. I've been doing a lot of those videos on actors and actresses, and you see Neptune is really prominent in the charts usually in some way, but I never did them with Mars, looking at Mars and Neptune together. And I'm not an actor, but I am here on YouTube, and I do have an interest in acting. I think it's interesting, not necessarily in public, but just as like a an activity or a hobby. And I do have Mars making just about an exact 60-degree sextile in my chart. So that is interesting. Acrobat. There's actress. I've been reading these for a couple of days now, and every time I find something that I don't. I mean, I read this before, but I guess I never really did it intentional like this. But every time I find something like super fascinating and that I didn't know about astrology that I can use in reading charts. And I think this Mars Neptune thing, is one of those fascinating tidbits about books like this. Acute, adult. So Venus is youth, Mars is adult. That's interesting too, because like as a kid, you're really asked to accept and to be more harmonious and just kind of go along to get along. And then as an adult, you almost have to violate. A lot of people have to violate that and be more Mars like. They don't like People don't like introverted. You see, it's like that. They don't like introversion. It's that uh, like there's a conflict there. I'm not thinking. I can't think of the word right now, but it's not right. There's something not right about that, and that could be why. Aggravate, aggressor, aggressive, obviously. Agile, agitate with Uranus. Agitate. I mean, I can agitate the hell out of people. I mean, I still do. And as a kid, I could really do it. But I still do it. And Mars combined with Uranus. I have a Mars Uranus square. I have a lot of Uranian, 3 planets in Aquarius, etc. So to agitate. I think of Mars Uranus as well as being bad. You think of a lot of astrologers talking about accidents and stuff like that, but these people can shake things up in a positive way. It's not always about accidents and getting hurt and things like that. Amputate, amputate. A lot of those military guys get their legs amputated. Military, Mars, amputation, anger, antagonism, annoy. You see the last video, the Venus video. These are all like very opposite of Venus. Army, argument with Mercury. You ever have see someone who likes to argue? Guarantee they got Mars Mercury aspects in the chart. Armor, arson, assault, assassin, Pluto. Pluto Mars assassin. James Bond. James Bond. I've always been a big fan of James Bond, his movies, especially the latest. The latest version or series is probably my favorite with I forget his name, but in that movie, I was gonna say I have James. There's actually an asteroid called James Bond, and I have that asteroid on my ascendant, and I have Pluto, Mars, in an exact trine, and I'm not an assassin, but the enjoyment of watching that movie. It's interesting. Athlete, audacious, barber with Mercury, Mars and Mercury, barber. There's a lot more that could be said about that one. Battle, behavior, bellicose, belligerent, blaze, bite, burglar with Pluto. Not going to read all of them again. There's so many. This is probably one of the shorter lists, though. Cadet, cadet combined with Venus. You think of Venus, cadets have to acquiesce to the authority. Cadet is much different than uh, say the army or like the front line or soldier, like a soldier. I'm thinking of cadet and combined with Venus because they do have to be in line. They do have to acquiesce to the authority like 100%. I don't really know how to put it into words, but that's what comes. It makes sense thinking about a cadet. Calisthenics, Neptune. Calisthenics, Mars and Neptune. Wonder how many people that love calisthenics over like weightlifting have a strong Mars Neptune. Like I said, I enjoy calisthenics probably more than weights, and as I have that Mars Neptune challenge, clamor, choleric, churn, clank, clatter, clash, combatant, conquer, conquest, controversy, courage. He has some of these underlined for some reason. Boxer, attack. These are underlined. Attack, boxer, conquest, courage, defender. I guess these are more the positive, positive terms. Dare, daring, dangerous, decapitate, defense, destructive with Pluto. I have that word destructive. I don't physically destroy things, but I'd say I like destruction as far as like states of mind, positions in life, status. I'm very like destructive about that. Like I would start this channel and then I would just like have it for a year and then shut it down and be done with it forever after all that work. Oh, there's someone in the chat. Sorry, I didn't see you there. My Mars is dominant in my chart, and I have a conjunction. What do you mean Mars is dominant in your chart? How's it dominant? Oh, it has 8 aspects. Wow, that's like mine. Mars is part of a grand cross and a T square. Mars, Venus, and Pluto are my dominant planets. Mars trine Neptune. I love working out. Yeah, so we probably have similar charts. Sun and Pluto and Sag sextile Mars. Yeah, we probably have similar charts. Yeah, I'm big on working out as well. Throughout the course of my life, it's been pretty consistent. I'm not crazy about it. Like I know some people. I like to vary things, probably more so. Maybe that's the Mercury on my ascendant. Desperate, discord, dispute, Mercury, Mars, dispute. You ever get these people that have Mars, Mercury too? Like they'll just they would really benefit from this information because they'll just argue about stupid. They'll just argue about anything just to argue, and I'm not sure that they're aware of it. Disturbance, doing, executive. That's underlined. Executive, effort, energy with Uranus, encourage, Neptune, Mars, the encourager. Kind of goes along with being a teacher, Neptune. Endurance, Saturn and Mars, endurance. I'm thinking of someone I know that's a Saturn Mars. Is it a Saturn Mars square? It's moving away from a square. I don't know what I was thinking there, but endurance, event, enrage, engrave, Venus. My dad, it's interesting. My dad likes to engrave things, and he's big. He's a big Venus Mars guy. I'd say like that's part of his life. Venus Mars. He's a Libra. Both of them are somewhat strong. And he always has to engrave everything, his name and the year and all that. Mars is in Libra, but my Mars is on fire. I have also a Aries midheaven. You would love to have Mercury on the ascendant. Why is that? It's good. when you got your life together, but when you don't, exertion, expedite, Uranus, expedite. I don't know that that's like shipping. All these shipping people. And this is what you do, folks. This is what you do. You just look at astrology, you look at the world. This is probably what they did thousands of years ago. And they're like, oh, this is how it works. We want to start a shipping business. And then you start hiring people. And they come out of nowhere. All the Mars Uranus people come out of nowhere because now there's a job that's just for them. Fang, fearless, fever, fever. One time I had Mars. I had a lot of shit going on. I shouldn't really have had a fever. It was leading to some other things, but I had a conjunct Mars transiting my sun, and I got the worst fever. It lasted one day. That's it, one day. But it was really a warning of some other underlying issues. It wasn't like a genuine fever. Fervent, fierce, fighter, forgery, Mercury, Mars, forgery, friction, furnace, gladiator, glory, guard. All them security guards out there. Gymnastics. Interesting. Gymnastics. So you wouldn't think gymnastic because especially most gymnasts are at least like in your local area when you go to the gymnastics center, they're mostly women, but they are tough. Gymnastics is tough. Trying your ascendant. I know someone who has Mercury trying their ascendant. We get along. We got along really well. And it's even just I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but Gaston. Just interesting through astrology. Almost every time people I meet through astrology just have so many similar things about them and their chart, and then just even in life, the people that you really get along with. It's crazy, crazy how it works. What was I talking about? Gymnastics, harsh, hardware, Saturn, heart, Jupiter, Mars, heart, courage. I have a Jupiter Mars square as well. I'd say I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of heart. Hasn't really helped me. It's helped me survive. That's for sure. Hearth, headsman, hostility, hothead, impatient. Like sometimes I think of myself as a hothead. I've had experiences where I'm a hothead, but if you really meet a Mars person that's like all Mars and they got debilitations for everything else, it's or someone who's like less evolved, like a less evolved soul, it's nothing compared. It's nothing compared to what they can do. Instigate, Uranus, instigate, intrepid, invade, invincible, jerk, kettle, loud, mad, manly, manslaughter, martial, massacre, Pluto. There's that Pluto Mars massacre just to destroy everything. Mechanic, Uranus. See, these are the things people need to know when they see when parents or what parents need to know when they have a baby. Not that the chart is gonna tell you what your kid's gonna do, but it's gonna guide, uh, it's gonna help you guide them. Like, if the kid's like, "Oh, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that," you have an idea if it's bullshit or if it's gonna stick, or you can still let him try it. You still let him do it, but just can be more clever about it. Like military, maybe you don't want them to go in the military, and they have this chart. They could go to the military, or they could be a gymnast. And they're gonna enjoy the gym. They just have to get them in there somehow, and that'll distract them or deter them from the military. Ah, that's what I would do. Murder, mutilate, nail, needle, negligence, offend. Imagine if society lived by this, and people are like getting really offended, and there's just a lot of people taking offense. They might say something like, "You're too Venus. You're too not like something else, like you're too soft." Or like, "You're too much in your Venus." They would get it right away. They would know right away. Onion, Neptune, onslaught, offense, offense and defense, Mars. It goes along with sports, athleticism, martial arts, patriotism, Neptune. Neptune, Mars, patriotism. Pencil, penetrate. What? Pink? How's pink? Oh, that must go along with blood. Physique, police, Jupiter. Jupiter, Mars, police. Damn, thank God I didn't become a police officer. I've been screwed. I'd probably be dead right now. Rampage, Uranus, reckless. Red, recruit, Neptune. You ever watch that movie, The Recruit? I think it's called The Recruit with Al Pacino. Neptune, Mars. Right there, that movie says it all. Robber, Pluto. Scream, scratch, sergeant, sentry. Some of these are just synonyms, really. Surgery. Mars is cutting, surgery. Soldier, spike, shrill. Stage with Neptune. There's that acting again. Wrestler, warrior, warmth, whistle. Jupiter is next. Threat, thrust. Tuesday, tournament. Moon and Mercury sextile Venus. Damn, we we have the same stuff. I got Moon Venus conjunction. Yeah, other people don't have our energy or your energy. Yeah, that lesson never ends, really. It's just so hard to navigate. So I got Jupiter here. Jupiter's pretty long. What's left? Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And I think Mercury. I don't know if I did Mercury. So I'll read here. I'm just going to leave you with this. I'm going to read what the intro is. Yeah, I actually have a video on my chart if you can find it. I read my whole have my whole chart up there. It's probably titled like something like my birth chart. The Astrological Dictionary. Words but voice, the music of the spheres in prose and poetry. Even their sound, phonetic sense is often their sound meaning sense. As for example, Venus, we and us, Uranus, you ran us. Venus, we and us, Uranus, you ran us. Saturn, sat, set, you are on. Sat, you are on. That is fixed, immovable, at rest. The spiritual self or ego, the sun, as a spark of the immortal flame we term life, glows, radiates, and shines as I am that I am. I am that I am. As that which you are. A small part of that radiant self, capital S, is intercepted by and reflected back by the planets to and through you as an earthly or mortal body or organism. These reflections constitute your planets, plan, PLANITS, the plan's life or the self sun has for you in the flesh during your physical pilgrimage. These reflections constitute your planets, the plan's life or the self sun has for you in the flesh during your physical pilgrimage. These planets, manifest first as words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh, and creates circumstances. Therefore, know and watch your words, and choose them with care. They are the bricks of your material structures. Your knowledge or ignorance of their true meanings and use becomes respectively the good mortar binding your planets together into a rounded whole as your planets go their orbital ways, or the bad mortar that allows your plans to crumble into ruin and dust. Each planet is electrically charged by the bombardment of solar electromagnetic waves. Light. Each planet oscillates on a definite series of harmonics of light frequencies, these harmonics being properties of each planet's respective volume, mass, and density. Hence, different words are associated with each planet, just as a different vibration is associated with the different notes of the musical scale. I mean, if you can decipher this, good for you. Because I read this before. I know what he's talking about, but this is some heady stuff. The angular relations of the planets, as seen from the sun at the time of your birth, define the association of their words into the messages of your radiant spirit. The angular relations of the planets, as seen from the earth at the time of your birth, define the association of their words into messages, telling you, the mortal earth, how you respond to the spirit. The usual horoscope deals with the latter, as defining from a practical or materialistic standpoint your world building into personality and circumstances. In psychoanalytic problems, however, both the heliocentric sun and geocentric earth horoscopes must be consulted, since it is the conflict by contrast between the angles from these two centers that gives rise to the knotty problems with which psychologists have to deal. But the given planetary words hold true for both kinds of horoscopes, and those who would better understand their true self need only to set up their horoscope from a heliocentric ephemeris in order to utilize this dictionary. For that purpose, as the heliocentric angles or aspects between the planets have the same significance as like geocentric aspects, and of course the same zodiacal blanks and same aspectarian forms can be used for plotting and tabulating your heliocentric horoscope. Well, that might as well have been in Chinese. Oh yeah, I remind you of that the astrology podcast guy. But I'm not. I'm way more. I'm probably a lot more. What's the word? Uh, Energetic or alive. That's not the right word I'm thinking of. But he's like really dry. I am Saturnian. The ruler of my ascendant is in Scorpio. It's Saturn. And it's in Scorpio, in the ninth house. The planet's abbreviations following words in the lists mean A. That the preceding word, and often its derivatives, is ruled by the planet in whose list it appears, but qualified in detail by the planet or planets whose initial follows the word in parentheses. Examples: under Mercury is governess, parentheses Venus, meaning a tutor, Mercury, of the young, tutor of the young, Venus. Under Mercury is mutter, Saturn, meaning to speak, Mercury, in a very low Saturn tone. Under Mercury is subpoena, UJS, meaning a writ, Mercury, commanding Uranus, appearance at court, Jupiter, to testify under oath, Saturn. Under Mercury is typewriter, UV, meaning writing, Mercury, machine, Uranus, operated by touch, Venus. Under Uranus is the word water power, N, power, Uranus, developed by water, Neptune. So the actor was Mars, and Neptune, you could say action. It's action developed by the imagination. I guess that's what he means by that. Wow, man, this stuff, you really got, this is how you become a genius. I think people that are born geniuses, what they're born that way, but if you want to do some real work in this life, just ponder that action. Action developed out of the imagination. There, where a word is really compound, look for it in both lists, as for the sake of condensation, it is seldom repeated under both. B. That the preceding word is ruled entirely by the bracketed planet when another meaning or the word is implied. Examples: under Uranus is variety, parentheses N, as a succession of different Uranus things. This word is ruled by Uranus and might be qualified by Jupiter, succession, order. I'm gonna have to come back to this because my brain is shutting off. So I'm gonna leave it there for now. Check out the other ones. I got the other ones posted on videos, and I'm gonna do the rest of the book, hopefully the rest of this week. I have a question about my stellium, Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in the fifth. Thank you. What's your question? I do have pretty good focus when I care about something. Oh yeah, the opposite rising too. Seen that a lot. I meet a lot of Cancers and Leos. Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in the fifth. So what's the story about? Do you have? Is there a story about children? Oh, why do people challenge me and my creative pursuits? Well, because Pluto's there. That's why. Because Pluto and Mercury's there. What are your creative pursuits? What you got to do? Well, I'd say, it's possible that they do that to everyone, but yeah, it's possible that if you look at it from that standpoint, from the fifth house, 11th house, it's possible that you need to develop more independent independent thinking. Uh, if you move into the polarity of the fifth to the 11th, you think of Aquarius, Uranus, the 11th house. Do you have anything in the 11th house? Uh, because the 11th house, and even if you use the internet, because when you get on the internet, the thing about the internet is when you get on the internet, you realize that there's always people out there that will support you. In my 11th, I have Jupiter in the 11th too. So I keep running into people without looking at your chart. But I've done a lot of readings like this where it seems a lot of people are trying to get on the internet, and with Pluto and Aquarius, I just kind of started with some things on the internet seriously, and that's where that's where you're going to find people who are they're still going to challenge your creative pursuits, but that's where you're going to find some people who are like you or will support your creative pursuits or will buy them because there's so many people online. It's you have the whole world. It eventually will happen. And with Jupiter and Saturn, you have uh this so much energy in this axis. It's got to be in a space where it's niche like that. Like it can't be out in the open with the public because the public's always going to do that. What are your creative pursuits? Oh, and you have Gemini as well. Oh, for sure. Gemini, your sun's in Sagittarius, and Jupiter, Saturn is in Gemini because Uranus is going to come through and make a transit to those planets soon. It's not. I mean, sometime next year it's going to go into Gemini. So yeah, games you got to put that on the internet for sure. Oh yeah, dancing, games. Because when Uranus goes into Gemini, this is really going to kick in. Uh, Pluto's in Aquarius. All this is going to be making transits to your, and then Pluto's going to make trine transits to those planets. So people are always going to challenge you, especially with the fifth house, 11th house. Oh, you play tennis? You should check out my other channel. I have a tennis channel. And look, my tennis channel right now, I'll tell you right now, if you think I'm good at astrology, I'm that I mean that much better at tennis. And my tennis channel has about 500, it's still new. It has about 500 subscribers. And I deliberately produce content to get made fun of, essentially. I knew I was going to get made fun of. And I know that my stuff is good, so I keep at it. And that's the 11th house. I know it's going to happen. So check that out as well. You'll see what I'm talking about. And the commentary that I get on there, I just get trashed on, especially when I go big, when I get a lot of views, like 5,000 views. So check that out. I gotta go. I didn't really feel that well going into this, but thanks for coming. I've been doing these lives. Don't really get anyone to come in here and chat very often. So I appreciate it. Friday night. Hope you have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you again.